welcome to Tales of Honor Podcast, a podcast dedicated to telling the true stories of every recipient of the Medal of Honor. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Tales of Honor Podcast. I'm your host, Christoph Ambrosch, and I don't have any birthdays today, no fear. I do have two birthdays on Wednesday, so tune in Wednesday for two birthdays to wrap up the month of July, and we'll move on into August. Also, don't worry, Civil War continues into August as well. Today, I do have one new review that was left for Tales of Honor Podcast on Apple Podcasts. If you have not gone over to wherever it is that you listen to this podcast and left a rating and a little review of what you think of the show for others, please do so. It would be much, much appreciated. I'm going to read today's review to you on the air. I still don't know, for those of you who remember, I still don't know who Catbutt is. I still got that t-shirt sitting right here for Catbutt, but no one's telling me who Catbutt is. So I'm just going to have to move right along to today's review from, I'm probably going to butcher the name, but it's Franz Werfel, if I know my German properly. It is a 5-star review, and it reads, "This is one of my favorite podcasts. Christoph is on a mission to tell the story of every Medal of Honor recipient, and at 2 per week, this is a mission that will take decades to complete. A mission is exactly the way Christoph looks at it, too, and like every soldier, sailor, airman, or Marine who has fought alongside his brothers, he's not going to leave anyone behind. This is the passion that compels him forward, and it's a labor of love, which makes this podcast all the more important. Help Christoph honor these American heroes. Listen to these stories, remember and reflect on those who selflessly gave of themselves to preserve the freedom we enjoy today, and of those who gave all." So thank you very much, Franz. He and his wife, Jen, are very avid listeners to the podcast, and I am very thankful for that review. Please be like Franz and go over and leave a nice review wherever it is. You don't have to, but it would be appreciated. And I don't ask you for much, really. So please, help a brother out, would you? Let's move right along into today's episode, which is episode number 327. On the 24th of March, 1837, Abraham was born in the small town of Bedford in south-central Pennsylvania. He attended the U.S. Military Academy at West Point and graduated 21st in the class of 22 cadets in the class of 1859. Two fun facts about this class are that all cadets would go on to serve in the Civil War, and 5 would serve in the Confederacy. Abraham became a second lieutenant in the 2nd Cavalry Regiment before serving with the 5th Cavalry Regiment as a first lieutenant in April of 1861. He displayed gallant and meritorious service at both the battles of Todd's Tavern and Gaines' Mill, and was promoted after each of those battles. It was his actions on the 10th of May, 1864, however, during a battle at Davenport Bridge that would earn him the Medal of Honor. The citation reads, "By a gallant charge against a superior force of the enemy, extricated his command from a perilous position in which it had been ordered." Before moving on, I want to point out that I had a very hard time finding information on what was being referred to as the Battle of Davenport Bridge. This was mentioned a few times, yet I was unable to find a Civil War battle of that name. The official information says that Abraham was at Davenport Bridge, Virginia, on the 10th of May, 1864, which is 18 miles from Spotsylvania Courthouse and 60 miles from Chester, both which had major battles happening on the 10th of May. At this time, I am unsure if he was a part of the Battle of Chester Station or the Battle of Spotsylvania Courthouse, even though it is more likely that due to location, the latter was more probable. With that discrepancy out of the way, we will continue on with Abraham, now a major in June of 1869, with the 6th U.S. Cavalry. With the Civil War over, he participated in the Apache Wars and the Battle of Sibique Creek on the 30th of August, 1881. 5 years later, Abraham was a lieutenant colonel and eventually became the commander of the Cavalry and Light Artillery School in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, as a colonel in 1891. When the Spanish-American War began, he accepted a field commission as brigadier general with the 2nd U.S. Division of the 7th Army Corps. He was in Cuba from the 16th of January, 1898, until the 1st of April, 1899. 2 years later, Abraham retired from the Army on the 25th of March, 1901, after almost 42 years of service. 8 months later, Abraham died at the age of 64. He and his wife Sarah had 3 sons, Samuel, Walter, and Percy. All 3 served in the U.S. Army. Samuel ended as a colonel after 31 years. Percy was also a West Point graduate and died in France as a colonel due to a railroad accident. And Walter was a corporal when he died in 1895 at the age of 25. Their father, Abraham K Arnold, and their mother are buried in the St. Philip's Church Cemetery in Garrison, New York. And that was a Tale of Honor. Thank you for listening to Tales of Honor Podcast. Head on over to talesofhonorpodcast.com where you can read these stories, see other ways to support the show, and easily share a story with your friends and family. Tales of Honor Podcast is written and produced by Christoph Ambrosch, and theme song, A New Beginning, is by Ben Sound. If you have any questions or comments, you can send them to talesofhonorpodcast@gmail.com. And until next time, I'm Christoph Ambrosch. Thanks for listening.